Okay, so welcome to this week's Thursday 30. We've got Kim from SmartBox with us this afternoon, and it's very exciting. She's got a brand new product that's been launched this week that you're going to tell us all about. So I'll hand over to you, Kim. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I shall just get my slide deck up. There we go. Awesome. So yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm really very excited to present to you our brand new piece of software, which is coming into the Look family, Look Lab. Just as we were chatting before, but I think it's important to say that this isn't a replacement for Look to Learn and Scenes and Sounds. This is part of that family, and hopefully you'll, through this presentation, see why it's not a replacement, it's just an extension of it. So moving on. So Look Lab is a brand new set of 30 plus, I think it's 34 games that are meant to be fun activities, fun and motivating for people who use eye gaze technology. It's also important to say though that this is head mouse compatible as well. So if your users, your students use head mouse, they can also access this. So I'm going to show a really quick sort of teaser trailer, and then I'll go into a little bit more depth about what you can expect in Look Lab. There you go. So that's a nice teaser trailer for some of the activities in Look Lab. So why did we need Look Lab? So like with Look to Learn, eye gaze could be the only way that somebody can access a device, and in order to support that, in order to support those skills to build up to communication, something like Look to Learn or Look Lab is so essential. It's great, eye gaze is great, but it is something that can take a long time to get used to. So it's important to give things like Look Lab and the activities within it to build up and practice skills that can then help with communication. So there are 38, I thought there was 34, there's 38 fun and engaging activities, which we'll go through. There's different categories, but it goes all the way from sort of fun to really challenging stuff, and then over to sort of more mindfulness kinds of stuff as well. So like I said earlier, Look Lab is all about practicing those eye gaze skills that then can build on to communication. So we have made quite universal activities that are suitable for a wide range of ages. So this isn't just for older users, it can be used with younger users as well. And it covers those early eye gaze and learning skills, but it also gives people games and activities that they can enjoy in their social time. So it's a nice learning opportunity, but also a nice thing for downtime. And in terms of that learning side again, because that's going to be something you guys are interested in, there has been lots of research in terms of learning through gaming and how it can be a really positive thing for our young learners. So this is another one of those options. In terms of the skills that we've got within Look Lab, these are some of them. So I won't go through all of them, but you'll all be very familiar with cause and effect. So activities where users can see the impact of their actions immediately. We have those activities in there. Tracking, so activities that require the user to look at one or more objects on the screen and then follow them with their eyes as they move. Sustained attention, so these kinds of activities require the user to focus on certain areas of the screen with no distractions. Dwelling, so fixing your gaze on a target to make a selection. Choice making, so choosing between preferred options, and lots more. So there's all of that in Look Lab. So one thing that we did with Look Lab that was really, really important to us was lots of testing with our customers. Tolu was very, very kind, and he offered loads of feedback, and a lot of his feedback then was implemented into Look Lab. So hopefully you'll see sort of those little areas of really thoughtful things. So Tolu, some of his feedback, he said that it helped him to focus and that his looking in terms of communication now is much quicker than it was before. Donna, who supports Tolu and other students in her school, has said that they definitely helped improve the skills of her students that she's working with. And like I said before, in terms of that research around games for learning, Becky, who is one of our speech and language therapists, has a really nice quote here. So yeah, practicing those things in a fun and engaging, no pressure way is a really great way to motivate users. So in terms of school and tracking progress and things like that, we have heat map analysis within Look Lab, and you're able to save these and print them if you want to, or just save them as digital copies. In terms of access, like I said, so eye gaze or head pointer, it is accessible and it's suitable for anyone. So it can be from young children all the way through to adults. There's something for everybody in Look Lab. And yeah, it's suitable for anybody at any stage. So we're doing that entry level, just starting to use eye gaze for the very first time. You can get used to just looking at things. We've got a lot of mindfulness activities, which are no pressure, but it'll give you a good indication as to where the user can look on the screen, if they're able to follow prompts, things like that. Building onto cause and effect, and then looking to practice those skills that can make you a faster, more efficient communicator. For AAC users are looking for a bit more fun, something that they just want to play games. That is absolutely who Look Lab's for. There are more challenging ones, so we're talking levels, very similar to sort of mobile phone games that you'll get, that there are levels that challenge you more and more. And then there are creative things, so there's art and music within there. So if you've got users that want to express themselves creatively, they can do that through Look Lab. So this is what the start screen of Look Lab looks like. So there are 5 activity categories. So the first one is fun. So these are more relaxing games that are easy to learn and get started with. Then moving on to challenge. So these are the more complex and strategic games that involve sort of time-dependent reactions. Then on to puzzles. So these are activities with that sort of problem-solving element. Then we've got creative, so like I said before, music and art, and then finally mindfulness. So these are very simple cause and effect activities that support relaxation and screen engagement. So I will delve into fun. So these are the fun ones. I'm talking fast enough, so I think I'll have time to go into Look Lab. But these are the fun ones, and it'll just give you a quick idea. So hoops, a little basketball game, pocket ball, which is like pool or snooker, where you direct the digger to pot the ball, paddle pop, which is like table tennis, keepy uppies. So lots of fun activities within that category. Challenge, so this is the one that is more complex. So we've got pipe dodge, which may look similar to a old mobile game you may be familiar with. Crawley Cruncher, again similar to an old sort of Nokia game, but these are all the slightly more challenging ones with levels. Then we've got puzzle, so mouse maze, slide puzzle, memory match. Onto creative, so we've got some really nice guitar, piano, and sort of garage band-esque ones, as well as some nice simple painting ones. And then finally onto the more mindfulness. So my favourite's pattern pop, which is basically like popping bubble wrap, and fish pond, where you feed koi carp in a beautiful, relaxing pond. So within Look Lab, we have 3 access options. So there is independent, so that is fully accessible, no restrictions whatsoever. Then we've got choice making, so you can choose, launch and exit activities, but the settings are restricted. And then finally is guided, so a communication partner would guide the user through the activity selection process using a mouse, keyboard or a touch screen, depending on what device you're on. Secondly, again, this came back from feedback, was that people wanted an easy and a standard mode. So each activity, all the activities that we just went through then, can be adjusted to suit your students. So easy mode allows you to explore at your own pace without worrying about losing lives or running out of time. So those more challenging games that are time restricted, or you could miss the basketball hoop, things like that, in easy mode, it doesn't matter. You won't lose your lives, or you won't lose the game. It'll just keep going. And then in standard mode, that is that more competitive edge then. So your time will be limited if it's one of those games, or you can lose lives again if it's one of those games. Again, from feedback from our incredible testers, appearance options. So people said that they'd like a minimal appearance for people with visual impairment, or perhaps people who get too overstimulated by too much. So we've got sort of a drawn back one where it's sort of high contrast but no distractions. And then we've got detailed, which is all of that sort of visually stimulating parts. So if any of your students are grid users, you can use grid and you can use Look Lab in conjunction really nicely. So we've created a grid set where you can jump into some vocabulary, where you can talk about the activities that you've been playing in, and then you can seamlessly jump back into Look Lab. So within Look Lab, there's a little sort of section down the bottom left which lets you jump into grid, and then vice versa. So it's a really nice, seamless way to open up that conversation. You don't have to shut down one thing, open up another thing, shut that one down, and so on. It's a really seamless move from one to the other. And finally, we have resources to support anybody who's using Look Lab. So we have a hub, if you're not familiar with it already. So it's hub.thinksmartbox.com. And within there, you can find all the resources. So we've got a getting started guide, which is a PDF, and you can download it and print it, and also a workbook to support every single activity in there as well. So hopefully I've got plenty of time, so I'll just quickly go into Look Lab, and then I'll show you the resources on the hub. But please feel free now if you want to see a particular activity or you want me to explain anything more. Like, it's a small enough group, I think, that we could probably manage that. And also, finally, to say that there is currently, for the whole of July, there's like a month-long trial, and there's no restrictions. All the games are there. You can try absolutely everything. You can delve into the settings, you can pick it apart and feedback, and we'd be very glad for that feedback. So if you go onto our website, you'll be able to find the free download. So I shall stop sharing. There we go, and I shall just go into Look Lab. Right. There we go. Okay. I'm hoping you're all good and can see that. I'll tell you what I might do actually is I might move it from that screen onto another one so that doesn't keep popping up. Awesome. Juliet, very good question. Not 100% sure, so I will find out and I will let you know. Right, let's share that screen. So this is what it'll look like when you download it. So this is that sort of section down in the bottom left that I said about jumping to grid nice and seamlessly. So when we go into start, here are all the categories. Oh, that was another thing I didn't mention, which I think will be something you guys will love, is the favorites. So with Look to Learn, historically, if you wanted to find that one that you always use with that student or those students, it's always great for assessments, things like that, you would have to delve through. Whereas now, if I always want to use Simon Says, I can add to favorites because it's the one I always go to, and then it's going to be in my favorites bar. So I don't have to constantly click into all the different categories. It's always going to be there. So again, down in the options, that's where you'll find sort of the control. So this is for eye tracking. I don't have a eye tracker currently plugged into my laptop. Dwell times, cursors, how do you want the cursor to look? So these are some of the settings. Accessibility, so this is where you would change the visual mode, but you can also do it within the game itself, which I'll cover if I have time. And then that's where those restrictions are as well. Sound and display, full screen or windowed. And then again, if you have students who are quite overwhelmed by sounds, then we can change those settings here too. And then help. So you can get the guides through the hub, just through your browser by you typing it in, or you can just select that here and it'll take you, open up a URL and it'll take you straight there. So one of my favorites is Hoops. So the easy mode, that's the one where I can just play and I'll never lose lives and I can just keep playing and playing and playing. The no fail mode essentially, or standard. And then, like I said, you can change the options within the options on the main menu, or once I'm in the game, if I'm with a particular student and I think actually maybe they could do without X, Y, or Z, I can do it there and then. So this is Hoops, one of my favorites. So nice and simple, just move my gaze to get the hoops. If I miss a hoop, I'll lose a life down the bottom left. Or if I catch a bomb, I'll lose a life down the bottom left. So that's a really quick overview of that. So I can end the, down the bottom right is where I'll find my analysis. And then I can export it there. Mindfulness is one of my more favorite ones. So I'll go for fish pond. Also to say, so within each one, you will have already seen You get an about, so what it's about, but then also the skills that you can then potentially for things like IEPs, when you're looking at what skills will they do during this activities, we can say that these are the ones that are directly related to these activities that you're playing with. You're going to be working on exploration, cause and effect, and dwelling in this particular one. Does it store? So yes, it does store. So for example, because I should have done this one a few times. It does store, it'll say when you end. If I lose 3 lives quickly. So at the end of an activity, you'll see here best score was 7. So that is how you can keep a track. But in terms of, say, for example, you were using LookLab on an assessment piece of kit rather than the individual's device, it would be something you'd have to jot down, because you can't distinguish between users, if that makes sense. So yeah, if it was in a school and you were using the device, you'd probably want to make a note, because that best score will change if a different student then uses it. But yeah, it's a really nice way to try and work on those skills, track that progress, as well as the heat map and other things. You can do best score. So again, yeah, with things like the challenge ones, the further you get along, the harder it gets, things get faster. So it is really exciting. Like I said, this one might look familiar to some of you. That's just a coincidence, I swear. So pipe dodge, you just dwell and you move the bird along. The further you get along, the faster the bird will get. And we've been quite thoughtful about things like the pause button there. So you will have seen, sort of historically, rest buttons are in the top right hand corner, but if you were to do that in games like that, you would move your bird into the pipe and lose a life. So the pause button is slightly to the left of the bird, so to make sure it doesn't ruin the game. So that is a very quick overview of LookLab. Like I said, so this is the hub, these are the resources, so you can download the manual. If we look at hoops as an example, there are these nice interactive PDFs, so we can put in the skills that they've worked on in this particular session. And then we've also put about easy mode, just in case that's something you're doing, what the skill is, what the objective is, whether you've it's a developing skill or it's an achieved skill. And then sections on engagement, independence and success, and so on. So there's one of those for every activity, to try and support communication partners or school staff who are using LookLab. And then a manual, which is quite extensive and goes through in much better and more detail than me. So I definitely recommend checking that out. And just to say, I don't know whether or not it's relevant, but we are releasing in 10 languages. And I can't remember them off the top of my head, but they will be on the website. So if you do have any sort of multilingual users, that we are releasing with 10 languages, but then we're also working with our partners in other countries to translate into many more in the coming months/year. So that was a whirlwind tour of LookLab, and I'm more than happy to take any questions.
Yeah, I can. I see that Jeff has a question in the chat. I don't know, Jeff. Did you just want to? Jeff Kinney, did you want to unmute your mic and just ask that to Kim?
I could see it if not, Jeff.
Yeah, so he's asking how it can help people who are living with paralysis.
Yes, so I think there are two sides to LookLab. Obviously, for people using eye gaze or head trackers, it's practicing those skills that are referenced within each activity. But a piece of feedback that we have had over the 10 years between Look to Learn and Look Lab being released was that people wanted the opportunity to access things like games and things that can be creative. So we really hope, and even in the short time, I think it's been like a day or just short of 2 days that it's been released, we've had such incredible feedback thanking us for developing something that offers that opportunity to just relax and play some games, or be creative with music, because I didn't get to cover the music, but it's incredible stuff that the developers have been able to do. So yeah, twofold really. Definitely practicing skills, access skills, depending on what their access is, but also, yeah, giving people the opportunity to access fun, essentially.
Lovely. Are there any other questions from anyone on the chat? Feel free to unmute, ask your question out loud if you want to.
It looks really nice. Is it going to be the same sort of costing pricing as Look to Learn, or?
It's more expensive than Look to Learn. So it's the retail is £480 for Look Lab. But my comment on that would be that there's a lot of features within Look Lab, and also the way that it has been built means that we can take things like feature requests. So if you think there's a setting that we could add that would make it more accessible, things like that we can change. So it's something we'll be developing in the same way that we develop Grid 3. So there will be updates, and there will be additional things added in the future based on user feedback. So it gives a bit more than Look to Learn, but Look to Learn absolutely still has a place in schools and for users as well. Sadly, no, there is no multi-user feature, unfortunately. And yes, I can get you a PDF of the slideshow, no problem.
Thank you ever so much, Kim.
No, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, really nice that you've done the session this week. It's exciting.
I'll just quickly, because I know I've said I'll do a couple of things during this. I shall put my put my email address in the comments, and because I owe Jeff a PDF, and I also owe Juliet an answer to the default easy mode. So if you two wouldn't mind emailing me, so I have your email in order to respond to both of you, that would be amazing.
Wonderful, thank you. Thanks ever so much. Thank you to everyone for joining this afternoon as well. And like Kim says, if you do have any further questions, then the email address is just there in the chat. Okay.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a nice couple of days before the weekend.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.